in the story, you said that board member Diane Greene last November, when she joined the company to run the cloud business, was given a blank check. So what is that blank check bought?
Yeah, she's gone and overseen at least 4 acquisitions, one of which Apogee was a couple months back, is $625 million. So essentially, she's kind of building the pieces to compete with Microsoft and Amazon. And you know, Google's in an odd position here where they're pretty far behind. Not something they've historically
They've moved the needle, but significantly yet?
You know, I think so. You know, the story is that they're late to the game. They've had the pieces in a long time. That Google was arguably the pioneer in cloud technology that they built in-house, but hadn't really taken it to a market. And Amazon did that first. You know, they've made a lot of traction. There's a lot of people in the industry really like Greene and really trust her, but they also think that Amazon just has this big first mover advantage.
I have to say, I was surprised by a line in your story that a significant chunk of the Google Cloud revenue comes from just 2 customers. Apple, which is unbelievable since Apple's, you know, maybe Google's biggest competitor, and then we'll get to it in a second, the company that owns Snapchat, Snap.
Right.
Just those 2 companies. Is that a majority? Do we know?
We don't know if it's a majority. You know, they signed some big customers lately. There are some customers that they claim they've had, but just can't come out. Home Depot is one. Evernote is another on the cloud side. I think they've had difficulty getting a lot of customers because Amazon just has a lot of advantages with scale, with ease of use, and their developer tools are just a little bit more familiar.
And they have to worry that both Apple and Snap would eventually want to move off their cloud and do it themselves.
Right. We've done some reporting that Apple's actually working on that. They have a secret project. They are not only Google, they also give money to, it seems like, Microsoft and as well possibly Amazon, kind of hedging, putting their money in different baskets.
Now, we learned today that Google Capital, renamed strangely Capital G, I don't know, tell us what's behind that, but they have invested in Snap. Is this the enemy of my enemy is my friend strategy?
Yeah, I have no insight of their branding strategy at all, but the Snap investment was sort of, they just disclosed it on their website, the small logo. And they've had, you know, the companies have, Snap clearly was an early startup. Google won that contract in the cloud business, maybe not foreseeing the tremendous growth that Snap would become. And they're also an interesting company in some ways because a lot of Snap's content is not on the mobile web. It's not really searchable.
And Google has tried to buy Snapchat in the past.
Right. I mean, it certainly fits with their portfolio. They don't have anything on social. They tried it, you know, with Google Plus. It's generally considered a failure. They're certainly kind of kicking the tires with Twitter. And Snapchat is one. We've talked a lot about Facebook and Google are sort of dominating the digital advertising. A lot of people in the ad world say, well, there's Snapchat, which could easily become the third player there.
So shifting topics, but staying on Google, we recently, when they reported their quarterly earnings, learned something new about their hardware business. They've started reporting an inventory item. What did we learn exactly?
Yeah, right now they have $559 million of cash on hand, which is basically the hardware inventory. So that's not just Google, which is the new Pixel phone and the home speaker device. It's also the entire Alphabet, so that includes Nest. Right, which has thermostats, and they've not really disclosed anything about the sales for Nest. We still don't really know numbers on hardware sales or even how the liability costs. So it's just a small bit of detail, but the company historically doesn't really give much.
What'll be interesting is next quarter when we see the same number and we can tell what kind of direction it's gone.
Right, and clearly, like, the profits for hardware might be pretty. I think Google's shooting for Apple-level profits. The same with the cloud business. We don't know what the profits will be, but they're probably not going to be as great as search.